jump into a conversation just after these.
Calling all football fans. Score goals galore with Hollywood Bets in a Super Football Showdown. The finest clubs in the world will go head-to-head to be crowned the best of the best. Ready for your chance to strike it big? Get in on the thrilling action and take a shot at a share of 100,000 Rand in cash or betting vouchers. Bet 10 Rand or more on any club World Cup fixture between June and July 2025. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
From the echoes of 76 to the playlists of today. We honor the past and empower the present. This Tuesday on Metro FM. Metro FM. It's where you want to be.
Listen further.
This is the Midday Link Up with LKG, Proverb, and Melbaba on Metro FM.
If there's one person who understands everything youth, it has to be Oskido. Because he started as a youth. He's empowered many youth. And his products, a lot of what he does, music-wise, appeals to the
Youth.
There you go, right there. So, if anyone should be the spokesperson, the brand ambassador, it should be Oskido. Combining here with Shane 907. Banzo is on this one as well. It's called Izita. 1414. As mentioned, we've got our guest who's joining us in studios. It's Kaugelo. Welcome to the Midday Link Up Metro FM and happy Youth Day.
Thank you so much and thank you for having me here. I'm excited.
We are glad indeed. Very important conversation we are having.
Yes.
We seek to empower each other.
Yes.
And empower youth that are engaging as well. And we hope you are checking us on our Facebook page as well as on our YouTube page. And please engage as well. Let's all have this conversation.
Yes.
I want to start with budgeting because in my mind that is the cornerstone of financial literacy.
Yeah.
And I think more than a practice. Something we do. It's an attitude. It's how we think about money, how we, relate to money, how we value
Money.
and appreciating how dispensable it is. Sis KG, am I right?
Yes, right. You're right. So when we look at, budgeting, right, I like to think of it as a personal conversation that you have with yourself, an honest personal conversation with yourself.
Honest is important.
The honesty. This is where your friends are not looking at you, your psychologist is not looking at you, it's just between you and your finances. And so it's important that when you put a budget together, you have that honest view of where you are. And it's very important to write it down. We usually think we can do it in our heads. It's something that you can just, oh no, I get this much and then I've got this and I spend on this. However, it's it's very important for us to actually sit down, write it down, look at your budgeting, things that you can put down there in your income, your expenses, your variable expenses are also important for you to look at that. And that speaks to your electricity, your water, your cell phone usage. And so we don't look at those things as expenses, right? We look at your bond, we look at your school fees, the basic stuff. But you actually need to also look at everything holistically. And it's so important that when we're doing this thing, we're not just trying to get it right. It's like the beginning, the foundation.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, and you don't have to get it right. I think people always feel that when you do a budget or they hear budget, they think, finance, this is going to be difficult. Right. However, it's something that needs to be done so that you kind of have a roadmap of where you want to go. So it's very important to have it written down. Look at it on a weekly, on a monthly basis. Hold yourself accountable. This is not about, I need to look a certain way. And I think we have that wrong perception where we think somebody's watching us when we do our budget, but actually it's just between you and your money. It's just us. And so we need to make sure that we have that personal conversation about our money. And another thing when it comes to budgeting, you can't do it and leave it.
What do you mean by that?
You need to track it. So if you put a budget together to say, this is my budget, this is what I need to cut down on, because that's when the honesty comes in, right? To say, I am overspending on entertainment. I'm overspending on subscription. Takeaways. And one thing I picked up this year in January was that when I looked at my subscription, I was like, what's happening? What are these things? And I cancelled subscriptions, I think, worth 800 Rand that I could be putting towards a savings account, right?
We'll get to the solutions because I want us to also put an action plan together.
An action plan,
of some of the
definitely.
things you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and I've spoken about this before. I always say, I started working sort of straight after school, really. I had no idea of budgeting or finance or how to. So I was broke, I think, the first 5 years that I worked, and I'm not even exaggerating. I was living kind of month to month, mouth to mouth, kind of thing, until I got to the point where I said, no, man, actually, enough, let me start. But I think a large part of that was driven by the fact that I felt I wasn't making enough money to have a budget. So, and I think a lot of young people who are starting out are like, I've just got a little bit, it's enough to cover my transport. Why do I need to budget? So where do you start when you feel like I'm only making 7,500 a month? Or where do you start with that?
So that is, quite difficult. We know that with income being very low, and we look at all our expenses that we have to come to work, we have to pay for our rent and all of that. So I think it comes to making that decision, that tough decision, to say, if, for example, you're paying this much of rent, can I downgrade? And we are in a culture where downgrading is not the in thing.
No, it's not an option.
So even though you do earn, let's say, 7,000 Rand and your rent is 4,000 Rand, instead of saying, then we get something cheaper, it's just for the short term, so that I can get to where I want to go. We are afraid of those changes. So as much as, yes, the income is not enough, we need to make those tough decisions to say, where do I cut back? Where can I cut back? But also, let's say you're not making enough money, and even after the cutting back, there is still nothing left. Right. Then it's an opportunity for you to get an additional income, right? That's where now you must get your earning potential to go a little bit higher.
Which is what Kutso was speaking about this morning around side hustles,
extra streams of income. I mean, I used to think I don't have a skill, right, at all, because I thought I couldn't draw, I couldn't do the things that other children could do. Right. However, I've got a skill now. right? I'm in finance. I can educate people about financial
And
literacy.
it reads like you're constantly
Yes.
upskilling.
Yes,
the whole time.
definitely.
Yeah.
And so now I can say this is what I would like to do.
Yeah.
Right? Empower the young people that are coming up, because we don't grow up in the same environment. And environment is a key factor
Absolutely.
in
That's
terms
true.
of finances, right? I grew up in a home where I had a father who was a businessman and a mother who was a teacher, and two different people, completely different people. My father would preach about budgeting. Every time you ask him for money, you must budget, right? But I didn't understand it to that core. Whereas my mother on the other side, right, she earned a stable income. And therefore, I was the last born out of the 5, right? So she would show me. And I think that was different. My father would say, he's a businessman, he's making money, budget. However, I just thought, you're a businessman, you have money, give me money.
Yeah, just give me
Whereas
money
my
as it comes.
mother,
Yeah.
on the other hand, would show me her salary,
stable, yeah.
show me her expenses, and then I would really see that she doesn't have money. So there's those two aspects of saying environment is quite important when we speak about finances.
Loving the conversation so far, but also, the importance of things like environment, which you don't
Yeah.
think about because your predisposition and your attitude about money is informed by how you were raised and the environment in which
Yes.
the relationship with money was had. If you want to join in on this conversation, you're more than welcome. You can give us a call on 086 000 2160. Otherwise, voice notes on 060 552 7303. We are in conversation with Sis Kaugelo Sekota, talking all things money, finance, but also property. All right, the
Yes.
conversation continues.
Take a bite full of mystery on the Tastemaster SA this Tuesday evening at 7:30 on SABC2 as the bottom 6 contestants face off in the Elimination Challenge. It's all about fine dining desserts and finesse, inspired by South Africa's first award-winning halal fine dining restaurant, the Happy Uncles. Who will taste sweet victory? That's the Tastemaster SA, Tuesday evenings at 7:30, repeat Wednesdays at 1 and Sundays at 4 p.m. on SABC2.
It's Big Red Weekend for 4 days only. ShopRite's bringing you up to 50% off on deals like 400-gram Parmalat cheese slices for 50 Rand. Any 2-liter Spa-Letta, Twist or 1.5-liter Coca-Cola cold drinks for just 25 Rand. An 800-gram Recoffee refill pack for 99 Rand. 9 Baby Soft 2-ply toilet rolls for only 59 Rand. And a 1.7-liter Optimo or Essentials cordless kettle, just 180 Rand. Valid till Monday, 16 June. Big Red Weekend, only at ShopRite.
It's the touchdown.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome in studio. Larry Rivers in the building! You went clean, and I didn't believe that.
Truth is, it's fun doing all those things. And certain reality is that, well, I can only speak for myself.
Right.
That we deal with when it comes to not only alcohol, but mind-altering substance.
Correct.
You think you need it to be socialized. You think you need it, and you fear not knowing the real you. You understand? I started drinking at 14. Oh, jeez. My daughter's 14.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And it's been how many years now?
It's 20 years next month.
20 years next month. That's incredible. Power of the mind. Wow.
Power of the mind or reality?
Oh, really?
It's the touchdown with Tebow Touch. The new love. Monday to Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. on Metro FM.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Music with the coolest DJs. Metro FM.
Where the true players at?
It's where you want to be.
Yeah. Everywhere I go.
This is the Midday Link Up. LKG, Proverb, and Melbala on Metro FM.
Sayozama,
what you want.
Playing nothing but the hottest new music.
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Metro FM, it's where you want to be.
You should listen up.
Still on the Metelink at Metro FM, enjoying our Youth Day. The sounds of Soul Matrix, Soulful G. Sean 101 is on this one as well. It's called Utando. 1432, still in the company of our guest, Siskaugelo Sekota, who's qualifications and accomplishments, honestly, will need a separate show. That's how qualified she is. Sis KG, now when we left off earlier on, we were talking a little bit about budgeting. We also spoke about the environment where we were brought up and our exposure to money and how we relate to it and how it may influence, how we go on about money. And where I want to pick up is, take Mel and myself as an example. We're freelancers, and even your dad in the example you brought up, where it's inconsistent. There's going to be periods where it fluctuates, periods where there's none of it. So how does one then begin to map any kind of clear relationship and budgeting, for lack of a better, if you don't even know when, how much, how frequent,
Sure. So when it comes to freelancers or contract workers, right, what we like to advise is that unlike the guys that get a monthly salary, you would rather look at your average over a certain period of time. Yeah. Look and see, this is my average from January to June in terms of income. And the other important factor is to put away some money. So once you have established how much your income is, you then look at what your average expenses are. Okay. So that's where you become very realistic as well. Not the nice to haves and all the other fairy things, but the most important things, which are your expenses, right? Your daily living expenses. And so once you've got that, then you also create a nice buffer for yourself. So you save because that next month I might get 10,000 rand. Yes. The other month I get 60,000 rand, and then 120,000 rand,
then
and
back to 5,
and then back to 5, or sometimes nothing. Right.
Yeah.
And I always say my dad was a farmer amongst other businesses that he had, and what he would do is on a yearly basis. As a farmer, you only sell once a year, or when things are good, right? And therefore, when you've got that money saved up, come January, you're not surprised that your kids are going to school. Number one, you're not surprised that you have to pay rent or buy food or do other things. So it's important that when you're a contract worker or a freelancer, you're actually more intentional about how you structure your finances. Right. And I think then it comes back to saying, that sometimes you get certain types of amounts. Yeah. You don't live on those amounts as they come in. You actually stretch it out to see, for the next 6 months, where am I in terms of income? Where am I in terms of expenses?
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think what a very common thing I hear, right, is particularly for young adults, so 18, 19, 20, 21, a little bit older, who are trying to get into perhaps the property market, right?
Yes.
Is the challenge is, as an 18 or 19-year-old, no one will give you credit because you tend not to have any history of it,
leverage,
right? Nothing to leverage off, right? And so maybe people will then open a clothing account or try and open a clothing. Apparently, even that's really hard to do nowadays. So you're trying to build up this credit history, which means you're then accumulating debt, right? How do you then make sure that your debt does not prohibit you from then going on to actually try and get property? So they look at you and say, too much debt going on here. How do you find that balance? How do you start to...
So when it comes to managing of debt, I think we must always take on debt that we can afford. But we know that doesn't happen.
No.
Right? Yeah. And so we preach every single time, or we advise people to say, please make sure that you only take debt that you can afford so that you're able to repay that debt. Remember, it's very important for you to repay that debt because then the next lender wants to see your history.
Right.
They want to see how you were paying. Were you paying on time? Or sometimes you pay on the 7th, the other times you're like, I'll pay next month. They want to see that history, and it's very important when they say when you start working, you need to build that credit. They say take the credit you can afford, not what they're offering you.
Yeah, because they'll offer you.
They will offer you double your salary or 3 times your salary, but that's not what you're supposed to be taking up. You're actually supposed to be taking up just a little bit of it, just to create that track record that the next lender, especially when it comes to property, that are going to look back and say, oh, this is how you handle your credit, and we can actually give you this much, and we can give it to you at this rate. Because then remember, it's also then it becomes a rate game. Other people pay more rate, high interest rates, others pay low interest rates, and that is because of the history of the debt.
Sis Kaugelo, you know, I once sat on a flight with a guy who was my business partner, but also executive producer for the TV show that I was on.
Yeah.
And I remember telling him about how, you know, I intend to, pay, this much into my house and this much into my... And he gave me like a little bit of a look. And he said to me, I don't believe in debt at all. As soon as I made any kind of money, first thing I did was settle my debt. So I don't believe in debt. So for a long time, that was like a view I held to say, first chance I get, I'm squashing this debt. Then, of course, you start studying, you start listening to your Robert Kiyosaki's and the whatevers, and then they start telling you about good debt. No, you need debt, leverage debt. Debt will help you do this. So, as a result now, my view is a little bit almost dependent on the situation. I don't know what my attitude is about debt. Where are you in terms of debt? Like, what you're feeling about it?
So, there's good and bad debt, right? Property is one of them, but so is student loans or, to upskill yourself, because that is
listing the good debts.
So that is the good debt.
Okay.
To say, I want to study because I've got a potential to earn an income, right? And so we're using that debt. However, if you use debt for consumables, meaning you just consume it, you're buying grocery, you are spending it on entertainment, you are spending on, then that on holidays, you don't budget, then it becomes a problem.
You're getting very personal.
I know, we're both like, so no holidays, you say.
So it's those type of things. So you must look at the type of debt you're taking out, right? You're taking out debt on a vehicle because it's generating an income for you.
For sure.
You have to go to work. Quickly, efficiently, you need to get from one point to another. And so having a debt for a vehicle makes sense in that instance. Right? So there is good and bad debt depending on every situation. And so you need to understand yourself to say, what is this debt doing for me?
So the why,
not just because everybody has a credit card and then everybody.
I think we all have a horror story from our first credit card.
Yes, all of us do.
Boy.
Yes.
I just want to take a moment and just shout out a lot of our listeners who are following along on the live stream on Facebook. That's Keho Motsamai, who is out in Mokwasi, out in Rustenburg. Oarabile is also saying live from Rustenburg. We even have someone listening in all the way from Lesotho who's saying, thank you so much. It's really informative. They're learning so much. That's the live stream that is on Facebook and on YouTube as well.
Wonderful. And listen, you can use those platforms to pose any kind of questions, thoughts, perspectives. If you have opinions, we want to hear those. If you have questions for our experts, it's KG. You're more than welcome to post those as well. Otherwise, please give us a call, 086 000 2160. Our voice note line is also up and going on 060 552 7303. When we come back, and Mel touched on it, and Sis KG, was property. I want us to now delve deep into property because we've been told, we see, we read that property is king. But let's get to the crux of the matter.
You're inside the all-new Jetour X70 Plus, and you're feeling what luxury should feel like. Pleasant, isn't it? Every button, every control just seems to be exactly where you'd like it to be. Almost as if it was made to fit you and you alone. Take your seat in a Jetour X70 Plus and experience the place where comfort meets luxury from only $5,199 per month. Book a test drive at jetour.coza. T's and C's apply. Jetour. Drive your future.
Try luxuriously creamy Nola Ultra Creamy to elevate your dishes, bringing the gourmet to the everyday velvety richness. Delicious to the taste, delicious to the touch, just plain delicious. What are you waiting for? Try Nola Ultra Creamy today. Ultra creamy goodness. It's mayonnaise with a hint of bougie. Tune into the Midday Link Up every Tuesday to get more with Nola. Nola Ultra Creamy. Indulgent.
Zake is a good South African with a good electrical business. He lit up the neighborhood, literally. One small spark, one big legal nightmare. But Zake, calm as a cable. He had 1 million rand public liability insurance from just 250 rand a month from Budget Insurance. The damage was covered and his client sorted before his reputation went up in smoke. Visit budgetinsurance.co.za today for public liability insurance. Budget is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online. Premiums are risk profile dependent and subject to annual review.
To the youth of South Africa, your voice matters. Your vision shapes tomorrow. This Youth Day, we celebrate you with the beat that drives the nation. Metro FM, it's where you want to be.
This is the Midday Link Up with LKG, Proverb, and Melbala on Metro FM.
Abaningi ababonanga lo nyaka ngijabula mosaphila ayinongezami ngifatela umacala ngintshela nisaphila ithuba lisekhona mtshela uyamfrustana ngicela sixolela namaphutha ayenzeka phutha layenzeka phutha layenzeka ngicela sixolela namaphutha abaningi ababonanga lo nyaka ngijabula mosaphila ayinongezami ngifatela umacala ngintshela nisaphila ithuba lisekhona mtshela uyamfrustana ngicela sixolela namaphutha ayenzeka phutha layenzeka phutha layenzeka ngicela sixolela namaphutha ayenzeka inhliziyo yakho wenhlobo wami ingumangaliso ndakubeka yona yonke le minyaka sangiwona iphoqa wenhlobo wami ndiyithembisa ukuthi nami sozama uba yi-friend right ungumntasekhaya ubabo lwami ungaze ungiyeke ungaze ungiyeke ithuba lisekhona tshela uyamfrustana cela sixolela namaphutha ayenzeka phutha ayenzeka phutha ayenzeka cela sixolela namaphutha ayenzeka ithuba lisekhona tshela uyamfrustana cela sixolela namaphutha ayenzeka phutha ayenzeka phutha ayenzeka cela sixolela namaphutha ayenzeka
Amos on the Midday Link Up Metro FM with Ami Faku. It is literally the last lap of the show. So we are making it count, getting as much info as we can from our experts. It's Kaukelo who's joining us, and thank you again so much. Having a rich conversation about money, about finances, and now we're about to get into property. There's a clip that T Deep and I like to laugh at because this guy is being facetious. He's got an attitude about it. He says, you know, whenever you listen to these conversations, people always say, oh, I started with 10 properties and then I did this, or I went and bought this mall and this hotel and this whatever. And it sounds so, you know what I mean? Like it's for a select few.
Yes.
Only the the rich people, the billionaires can get into. Can we all get into property? At what stage? What level? At how much do I need to have? Like, is it for everyone?
Well, that is a trick question. However, when you're mentioning that, I always thought that if I had started early, right? And there's context to that, right? So when you look at property and you're still young, and you start working and you get a little bit of money, not too much, just a little bit, but you go and look for a property that is within reach, right? Let's say you get a property worth 400,000 in a certain neighborhood. That's the start.
Sure.
Right? We usually want to start with the house worth 1.5 million. That's the problem.
That's why it seems so prohibitive. Because if you say property, you start thinking of these property sites that you look at, these mansions and all that. And
Exactly. So we all have that mentality because we don't have the financial education, I guess, or the background in terms of property. However, when I think about it now and I say, when I started at 25, 26, if I actually bought a property, right, for 400,000, I would probably be on my way to that property being paid off. Then I would have started my property portfolio then. However, because we always want the nice stuff very quickly, we are waiting, we wait, and the time doesn't come, and then you buy this property for 1.7 million. You don't even know anything about it, and you get to learn all the mistakes about property with that property.
And besides, your primary property
is
not an investment.
It's not an investment.
Yeah. But I was going to say this, and that is a mind shift for me, because I had that exact same thing when I was younger. The place I was renting, the owner wanted to sell.
Yeah.
And at the time, I said to myself, I don't know if I'll want to live here forever. So I said, no, thank you. And in hindsight, I should have bought it because it was in a great area that now has only appreciated, but I couldn't see myself living there forever, but didn't think of it as my first step on the ladder to, I could move out. It was 2-bed, but I would move out when I got married or had kids, all right, So I think, what are some of the common mistakes that young people can look at when they're trying to get into the property market, their first property or their second property? What are some of the things they need to look out for?
So, number one, where I also went wrong, know what you can afford.
Firstly.
Be realistic about it. Don't live in a dream world. Do your research. Yeah. There's lots of cost associated with home ownership. I also did not know that. And so there's lots of things. There is your transfer costs. There is your legal fees, bond registration, all of these things that you don't actually take into account because we're only looking at the bond amount. Right? Then, of course, credit record. We don't check our credit record.
That you spoke of. Yeah.
Right? Then the bank or the service provider declines you and you are frantic because you don't know why. Whereas it was right there in front of you the whole time. So check your credit record.
So you would say like a pre-approval is the way to go?
Not even a pre-approval. Your credit record isn't like check if you've got all the dates that are, that were there.
If there's anything outstanding.
If there's anything outstanding, because sometimes you pay off a date and they don't remove it.
Yes. Yeah. So
you understand.
Follow up and
clean up. Check your credit record before you even look for a pre-approval.
Got you.
Then,
KG, sorry, and I know there's a longer list.
Yes.
But I want to sort of cover as much as I can. Is property still the ultimate? Is it still the king?
If done the right way, yes. Anything when done the right way, it's still king. Property is still king.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to my example where I say you start with what you can afford, right?
Build from there.
And then you build from there.
Yeah.
You build from there. You do what is affordable. You do your research because we don't do our research. We don't speak to experts. We look at our friends. They tell us their bad experiences. Mel tells me her bad experience and I'm like, oh, property. So go to the property people that deal with property, speak to those people, do your research before you jump into it because it could be a very expensive mistake very quickly.
I've also heard it's a big mistake to fall in love. You must detach. Don't have an emotional attachment. No, so that you can make it a business.
It's a business transaction.
Because you get too emotionally attached
to the property you're talking about.
Yes.
Oh, you made it sound like you're falling in love.
No, I should have completed my sentence.
You should have completed your sentence.
Yeah, and so I do you agree with this kind of sentiment?
Well, that depends. So I'm going to say that depends because it depends what we are going in there for.
Yeah.
So I always say, well, my dad used to like saying, have foresight.
Yes.
Have foresight. Don't just think for now and think, I just want to do things now. Think about the impact it's going to have for the future. Right? What is your plans?
For sure. Look, I just want to invite a few more questions if we can get them. 086 000 2160. Call if you want to chat to CKG. Otherwise, please send us a voice note with your thoughts, insights, perspectives on 060-552-7303. But just in case time robs us, as I see it's about to, where can people, engage with you further beyond this platform?
So I'm available on LinkedIn. Under my name, Gaurele Sekgota. People can engage with me there. I also have a Facebook page as well, so they can engage if, they want to expand further on the topics.
Nice.
Yeah.
Time again, as usual, very cruel, but we are going to use the 9 minutes we have left to squeeze in and pack it all in as much as we can and see if we can just conclude nicely with this KG. Otherwise, this has been so insightful. All right, and thank you again so much. And thank you for your engagement on our various platforms, on Facebook as well as on YouTube as well. Massive shout out to you.
In a competitive world filled with challenges, Boston City Campus is not just on your side, but by your side, enabling your success every step of the way. Offering locally and globally accredited online learning for degrees, diplomas, higher certificates, postgraduate and more. Don't wait until next year to start studying. Register now to start 28th July. Study from home, work, or one of our 47 support centers. Boston.ac.za. Serious about education. Serious about you.
It's amazing how much a little help can change everything. Help takes you from, I have to fill up again, to remembering, Konje, my bank rewards me for that. Swipe your FNB Visa Aspire card and get up to 120 per litre back in e-bucks when you fill up at Engine. Open an FNB Aspire account at your nearest branch. FNB in partnership with Visa. Help changes everything. TCs and earned rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider.
All right, we are concluding our conversation with Sis Kaugelo because today is all about just empowering each other, empowering the youth, sharing information, sharing knowledge. Sis KG, we've got 1 or 2 voice notes. Please have a listen to these and see what you think.
Okay.
Good day, guys. This is Peter from Prasmabuluk. What a nice topic, and it's an eye-opening and mind-opening. So thanks for bringing the sister to open our minds when coming to budgeting and savings. So what I would like to add on that is that as a person, we need to be mindful of whatever we do, because our mind is the first business that we must manage. If we don't manage our mind, then we will be bankrupt. So now as a property agent, I know how to spot a potential buyer, a person who will be granted a loan go banking or a bond go banking. I first look at the car you're driving.
How?
If you drive those 2-7 big cars, I know, no. Oh, wow. But if you come to me driving a small car, Corolla, and I know this one, chances are they are very high. So, co-fishing at times, how do you spot potential clients? I was easily spotting them by the car, the clothes they are dressing. He's mindful when coming to budget and stuff. So, but thanks for the advices that we're getting today, since from that show Kujuturi until now. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Pizza.
Nice one, Pizza. Ma'am, do you have, because you were nodding aggressively over there, so you obviously agree.
I agree. Even though perception sometimes, is not the right thing, it's not everything, but it does tell. There's telling signs.
Yes.
There's always telling signs in terms of how somebody conducts themselves and how they handle money.
Sure.
So quite important.
Fascinating.
Very fascinating.
One more? Is touching a valid point there regarding budgets. Budget is a crucial tool you can use to manage your finance. Can I be anonymous? I don't want to introduce myself anyway.
Safe.
And I like the way she articulates the issue of the good and the bad debt. Because I once get an advice to saying a credit card can really assist you to have a good scoring when you are about to apply for a debt. So what I normally do, I'll deposit my money to my credit card and I'll spend my money on my credit card, not the credits that are being offered. So it's one of the tools that you guys, the listeners, also can opt for and try to avoid late withdrawals, buying airtime with your phone, your cell phone banking. Those are the things that banks looked out to saying you find being a reckless person. All I can tell is that when I withdraw my 3 months bank statement, it's always 3 pages because I don't transact on my primary account, but I transact on my credit card, but using my money, not the credits available, etc.
Nice one. He gave us some gems and some hacks. So maybe in closing, if you can just kind of short fire hacks that young people can just take away today.
Yes. Budget, number 1, that still stays. Live within your means. Manage your money.
Yes.
Actively. Consciously. Right? And then shop around for different options.
When it comes to anything.
comes to any financial products, shop around, do your research. Don't just take the first thing that comes up.
Yeah.
You know, educate yourself about your finances, because that's what will get you to where you want to go.
Love it.
There you go. Your handle one last time so we can engage with you.
Gaugelo_Sekgota on Instagram or on LinkedIn, Gaugelo Sekgota.
And not just Gaugelo Sekgota, she's a certified financial planner, an expert in strategic financial advisory planning and analysis, and she's currently an advice enablement specialist at, my gosh, I could go on for days. Listen, we are so privileged to have had you. Thank you so much for engaging with us. This needs to happen again. We barely scraped the surface.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, and we wish you all the best with your studies and everything that you're doing. And hope you have found that conversation as enriching as we have. Thank you again for engaging with us across the various platforms. Melzen, we are done.
No better way to spend Youth Day than this. Thanks, everyone.
You said it.
We stay connected no matter where you are or where we are. Metro FM. It's where you want to be. This is the Midday Link Up on Metro FM.
Tell me when to say love me, Ginger.
Your loving, so fresh, so clean. Love me in and out, unfailingly, and I'll be down now. Anytime you call me, I'll be down, because I love